I'm gonna start with a broad question. What
Yeah.
scared you as a child?
Well, I was pretty I sought out scares.
Okay,
I said this last night actually. I was watching horror films way too young
got it.
because I was a child of the 70s. So we were brought up with stuff like it's not that our parents didn't care, but I was the fifth of five. And I think what my older siblings were watching, I would just sit down quietly and everyone would forget that I was six, So
Yeah.
I would watch stuff that yeah, terrorized me, but then I would feel terrified. Like I remember the film, do you know the old film?
Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually I actually watched that very young and I had to be moved at the cinemas and I had to be moved out of my bedroom because I used to wake up at 3:15 or around 3:15 and my brain would be what's going to fly through the window. So or what's going to kill me. So that's yeah, that was my childhood. And
Yeah.
I don't know what it is in us that even as I was very robust though. So
Okay.
I wasn't like yeah, I sought out the scares.
Okay. Okay. So this is my question then. What scares you now? Like, what does it take to scare you now?
True crime.
Okay.
I
Very
think
popular.
I think if I think if someone I woke up and someone was in my house, that would be the end. I would
Okay.
be yeah. But also I was walking through Beverly Hills last night. Woo woo.
Hmm.
And I looked up in this very sort of beautiful mansion and I saw this sort of lounge room lit up and I thought how scary it would be to see this sort of maniac in the so my brain was working overtime on what would scare me.
Yeah. Okay. You were looking for the scares. You said you seek them
Yes.
out. I get it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but what about supernatural? Are you more of a like? It sounds like grounded scares you more in real life than the idea of the supernatural? Question mark.
I yeah, no, I'm definitely freaked out by certain things for
Okay.
sure. Like I read an article about the Cielo Drive house that was the Manson house.
Hmm.
And the woman who had that house built for her was a French actress in the 30s and she was scared by that house. And even though it was a new house, she was something about it scared her. She got a Great Dane. The Great Dane was more scared than she was in the house. She got a friend to move in, and the friend was also scared, and they couldn't explain it. And then she went back and lived in France, and then she found out about the Manson murders, and she went, "Oh my God, I was scared by something in the future,"
Ooh, yeah,
and that scares me.
yeah. I
So that's supernatural. I feel
yes,
that's a supernatural
yeah.
experience, and that scares me. I've
Okay.
also had ghost experiences that definitely
Ooh.
have scared me. I have a
Do you have a
Babadook.
ghost?
I don't have a ghost, thank
Okay.
God. But I do have a ghost photo from Babadook in the cellar. It was a real cellar.
No. Mm-mm.
I
No,
do.
thank
I
you.
can send it. I can send it to you.
Please do, but don't. But no, please send it to me. Danielle has my
Yeah,
info.
I
She
was
will.
showing Essie how to bend back and do that shot.
No. Oh my God.
And then we were in a very haunted basement. And then this light, Essie was taking a photo on my phone, and
Yeah.
this light came whoosh past us. And Essie and I both went, whoa. And then I said, Did you get that? Did you? And she said, Look at this. And there's a photo of me bending back with this light going right across the camera.
Did it feel ominous, or was it just like, I want to check out what's happening on set? Where's your crafty table?
Felt a bit like Leisure Craft Services.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
No,
We like
no,
that.
no,
We
no.
like a curious ghost.
It felt amazing.
Hmm.
Or inspiring that
Okay.
but there were it was a hotel basement, it was a hotel built on top of a hotel, so it was a full working hotel underneath. It was very creepy and very scary,
I,
but yeah, so it creeped me out definitely.
yeah. Understandable.
Yeah,
Um. Okay. I have a very specific question about our dear friend Babadook.
yeah,
Why Mr. Babadook versus like a no gendered
yeah,
monster?
because I wanted because I think it is an amorphous terror that
Yeah.
lies underneath it. I wanted it to be playing at human,
Okay.
and I wanted it to be, "Ooh, I'm a nice gentleman that, you know, has a
Exactly like that. Ooh, I'm a nice gentleman.
yes, has a
Just here
top
to haunt
hat."
your dreams.
Yes, has a top hat, you
Okay.
know, but I wanted it to feel like a mask, so someone was playing at being this gentleman.
Mm. Yeah.
So you don't see any skin,
Right.
in the book, there's gloves, there's a coat, it's very concealing,
Yeah.
and then that's, when you see what's underneath, you're gonna wish you were dead, but we never see what's underneath, and I think it's important that we don't. It's never revealed.
Yeah. Some things we got to keep to ourselves, Mr.
Yeah.
Babadook.
I don't know what it looks
That's,
like.
I don't, I would be terrified to find out what it looks like. Okay, I'm gonna make an admission. I hope, please don't be offended by this. So I have been avoiding this film for a decade.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yes, because I am a huge chicken, and I,
Right.
like you, even as a fully grown adult woman now, wake up at 3 a.m. terrorized. I have seen the film now. I have
Yeah.
not slept since, and I've been
Oh,
waking up at 3 a.m. So thanks so much for that. But
we have
you
another
know,
room you can move into.
I have a corner in my room that like is that I'm just like mother like it's just but I saw Nightingale as soon as it came out, so I'm
Oh,
familiar with your work, which was
yeah.
terrifying in a different way, but like it
Yes.
took 10 years of people wearing me down and speaking so highly of this film, and
Oh, thank you.
like,
Thank you that you overcame it to see it.
yeah, it took a lot of training, and like I had to watch it in broad daylight, also part of the reason I wasn't at Vidiots last
Ah.
night. um but I'm really curious, and like again, it congrats, you scared the shit out of me.
Oh, thank
So
you.
it holds up 10 years later. But my question is, do you have something in your life that has been in the cultural zeitgeist, and you're like, I know everyone talks about it. Is it a book? Is it a movie? Is it a place to visit that you finally caved on? And like, how did that live up to your expectations?
I actually couldn't watch The Exorcist for a
Ooh, okay,
very, very long time.
yeah,
I couldn't. And
yeah,
in fact, I was, you know, in my 30s by the time I saw it, because I grew up Catholic, right?
ah,
And once a
ah,
Catholic, always a Catholic. Like
yeah,
anything demonic is
hmm.
terrorizing, because I don't consider myself religious at all, but it's just something in your
No, it's
DNA.
like a cultural thing at that
Yeah.
point, right? Yeah,
Yeah. So I was with two friends, this gay couple, and they were darling to the very dear. And we all watched it together. And then at 3 a.m., I knocked on their door. It was my house. I knocked on their door and I said to
yeah,
them, "Can I sleep at the foot of your bed?" And they were sort of laughing and saying, "Yes, of course." So I couldn't get through the night after that,
yeah.
uh, without, like, on my own. But since then, I've seen it many, many times, and it's like an old friend now.
An old pea souped friend.
Yes, I admire its genius and its artistry, and I still get the chills, but more actually, I get the chills more from Reagan's, all of those medical,
Like attachments and
explorations
yeah.
that are happening to her. I find her journey emotionally more terrorizing than the demon somehow.
Yeah. What's funny is I saw that very early on. And
Whoa.
so my friend went to Catholic school and she had to watch it for school, which made no
What?
sense. Like, I know. And
Maybe they're
this
trying to say, this is what happens if you
yes, and so
misbehave.
I didn't feel as scared of it, I think, in the same way, because I grew up like effectively like non-religious or like culturally Jewish,
Yeah.
and so I was just like, haha, demons,
Yeah.
and had to
Yes.
compartmentalize it, right? Versus
Yeah.
I totally understand if that's something that you have grown up with, like that would totally terrify you, being
Well,
like, this
yeah.
is real, don't mess up.
And I think it's interesting what you say, because that hits on something very profound about horror cinema,
Yeah.
is that everything is so personal, because
Yes.
someone can sit down and watch The Exorcist with arms folded and go, this is ridiculous. But then someone can say, I can't sleep ever again. It's very much about what pushes our buttons. So it's really interesting that you ask me what scares me, because I think it
Yeah.
is so unique,
Yes.
so
Uh,
individual.
That is such a perfect segue because my next question is,
Yeah.
I know you're aware of Babashook and the icon that, you know, the life that it has taken on beyond.
Yeah.
That's actually how I was introduced to I mean, obviously, like my friends would be like, "Oh, there's this terrifying movie." I was like, "Haha, no!" And then, you know, I saw all the memes and all the things. I was like, interesting. And then, you know,
Yeah.
it wiggled its way in. But you make a film and it's one thing. And then the second you put it out into the world, right? The audience sees it and it becomes a
Yeah.
different thing. So,
Yeah.
what is something that like you've discovered about your own films after you've seen them through the lens of the audiences that has like helped change your perspective, or not change, but enhance your perspective on them?
Can you ask that again, Dana? What was
Yes.
yes.
Um, has there been anything that you have like once audiences have gotten a hold of them, right? And they
Yeah.
have you know, kind of
You
added
mean
their
my
layer of
film or
experience.
someone
No,
else?
your film, like
Oh,
your own
okay. Oh,
films.
yeah. Yeah.
Have you like, you know, gleaned extra meaning from your own films that maybe
Yeah, I
like
see what
you
you're saying.
subconsciously had inserted, but like
Yeah.
it took the audience to be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that is what I was working out at the time.
I think definitely there's more things in there. People are reading things in that I didn't intend, which is great because I do believe that's why I love David Lynch so much because I
Mm.
feel like his films, he refuses to even talk about them, which
Oh, he
I
sure
really
does.
I really admire because then it forces the audience to just stop being in our heads
Yeah,
and connect with it on a different level, on a sort of more dreamlike level. But I think, I mean, I've been surprised sometimes by the reactions to films.
mm.
I mean, certainly Nightingale is a case in point that, that was made. We were looking, my editor and I were looking at Me Too and all of that when we were editing Nightingale and thinking, wow, this film is, we thought it was going to be sort of embraced and understood, and it totally wasn't. It was sort of misunderstood and sort of attacked,
Mm.
which I found, yeah, very surprising at the time. And it made me pull away from actually doing interviews because I thought, I don't want to talk about this.
Mm.
But since then, and the reason I bring it up is that I think it's gained traction and people are understanding the film more. Um, and certainly understanding it from an Australian point of view because this shit happened in our country.
Yeah,
And it also happened here, I might add. Like, I'm often wondering why are there no, or not no, but why am I not seeing Native American culture more completely in cinema, for example?
yeah.
I want to see it. It's such a rich and incredible culture.
Nightingale is such an interesting one. You basically not ruined, but like Sam did such you did such a good job with Sam, and that like I'll see him in things that are so you know like
Oh,
vibrant or
Sam
like pointing out. I'm
Claflin.
still always like,
Yeah. Yes.
you can get dark,
Well,
like,
I think
and it's
I
the
think
character, right? It's not him, but I'm like,
totally. I mean, he's the most gorgeous guy, so sweet, but he really went there and then he was shocked when he saw the cut and he said, "This, I don't recognize one spot of my DNA in that role." And I said, "You've just given yourself the best compliment you could ever give
yeah,
yourself as an
yeah,
actor." But yeah, it's another kind of horror. I don't think it's a horror film, but yeah, it's
yeah.
another
It's
kind of
no,
horror.
it's a very realistic horror, right? It's like
Yeah.
a lived horror versus a supernatural. I'm actually curious, like, how do you feel about people who get kind of categorized as horror directors, right? Because like obviously Nightingale,
Yeah.
perfect example of something that is beyond that. It has terrifying aspects, but to the personal experience comment, like it's
Yeah.
even more terrifying if you know the background of
Yeah,
it.
I don't like being categorized at
I'm not
all.
calling you one. I'm just
No, no,
curious because
no,
like
no, no. I don't because I mean, when I say I've got, 7 scripts or sort of wafting around
yeah.
at the moment, I've got a sci-fi series. I do have a folk horror series set in Ireland in the 1700s. So that's horror. I'm working on an adaptation of a fantasy book that looks like we're going to be making that next year. I have a
Ooh.
love story between two girls, a Victorian love story that has been really hard to get made, I might add. But there's nothing, it's for me very much what draws me. I
Mm,
think the linking things is that I love to create worlds that
mm,
are a world unto themselves, that are of their own making. So
yeah.
I'm not so interested in directing sort of naturalistic drama, for example.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. But something that lifts it up into a unique, even sometimes surreal world is really intriguing to me.
I love that. I mean, I think again, Babadook is a great example of just like a bleached world of, you know, monochrome horror, not
Yeah.
horror, but just like
Yeah,
terrors, like the yeah.
we
Yeah.
created a very restricted color palette, and actually the color palette sort of does
It's
disappear.
yeah, it bleaches out as it goes through, and I was just
Yeah,
like,
it
is my
becomes
TV
more,
okay? Like,
it's more black and white as it
yeah.
goes along.
Um,
So
okay, this is a broader question, but I'm really curious, especially based on you being 5 of 5 and saying you saw certain films really early. What is the first film that you can recall seeing in theaters that you were the impetus for going to go see?
my first sort of memory of a film that changed my life and that I feel I saw it on my own, but I was very young, so I can't have seen. Maybe I did though, because I had a local cinema that I was able to walk to and walk home. But
Yeah.
okay, the film was Bambi.
Traumatizing. Yep.
Well, the thing was, if you're 5 and you see that, and
Yeah.
you really love your mum, like I
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
and the mum dies.
Yeah. Traumatizing.
Yes,
Yeah.
it shook me into a reality I never had conceived before that, which
Mhm.
was my mum's going to die.
Yeah. It's mortality, the scariest thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. And I heard they're remaking it at the moment, and they're not killing off the mother. And I feel like I'm going and picketing somewhere.
I will join you in that
Yeah,
picket, but it
because
wouldn't surprise me.
I feel we can't protect ourselves with film. You know, film needs to give us something. It needs to, you know, it needs to offer something and
Yeah.
challenge us, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that film was life-changing for me.
Understandable, I think, for many people for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
I'm almost at time. So my last and most important question is a therapy one. But how do you define personal
Yes, I
success
have had
now?
therapy.
No, well, welcome to free slash at expensive IFC. Bless them. No, so like, how do you define personal success now, and how has that definition changed from when you were younger?
I think when I was younger, I was very much scrambling to be, I've got to prove myself. You know, I was
Mm.
very, very hard on myself. And I mean, you know, that would require a therapy session to go into, um, but now I realize, like, as you get older, like, life is finite, and we all know that, but you start to feel it. I
Bambi
just,
taught us early.
yes. And now I'm just getting the memo, but, I'm very much about now just wanting to be creative every single day. And of course, I want my films to be made more than anything, but I'm trying to stay in the present and, you know, not worrying about the impact a film has on its
Mm.
audiences. That's just from my creative life.
Yeah.
Being an artist to me has been the most important thing of my life. It's my absolute core
Yeah.
focus. It's how I see the world. So I think being less hard on myself,
Mm.
because I'm a perfectionist, and anyone who's a perfectionist will know it kind of robs you of a joy in life.
An artist who is a perfectionist in this economy? Like,
I
what?
mean,
Shocking. I've never
what?
heard that one
Shocking.
before.
Exactly. Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think that is my time, but thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure. I'm so
Oh,
excited to
thanks,
see what you
Dana.
do. I probably won't sleep for another week, so
Ah,
thanks for that one. I'm not kidding. My friends were
well,
all right to warn me not to watch it. They're like, no.
well, we're going to be announcing very soon what I'm doing next, and
Okay.
I think it's more. It is a bit spooky, but I think you might survive it. So hopefully, you
Okay.
watch
I
it.
survived Babadook. I just have been dealing with the ramifications for
Yeah, yeah. Just keep
years.
saying, "What's that '70s thing? It's only a movie. It's
Yeah.
only a movie."
I mean, this is my other thing. Roaches, one of my worst fears. So
Oh yeah,
that I was like,
me too. I had that happen. I had
no, no, don't tell me that. Oh my God.